Sorry about that. Good evening. I am Tony Andolfato, a county resident, a member of the county-wide Comer Steering Committee, and a retiree from the Prince George's County Public School System. Tonight, I am speaking as an individual, as always, on behalf of all the students in the Prince George's County Public School System. Thank you for locking in the .5 library media specialists for all schools. It would be nice if it could be a 1.0 locked position. Hopefully, when the economy improves, this will be a goal. Also, thank you for permitting principals to purchase the other .5 position so that they can have a full-time library media specialist. About 45 principals have taken advantage of this opportunity. However, all the schools that would like to take advantage of this opportunity can't, because they don't have adequate funding to support all the needs of their school. Thank you for putting in the funds in the designated line item for media materials. If possible, please raise the per pupil amount. This year it is $2 per student. In a small school of 300 students, it amounts to $600. With the average cost of books being about $20 or more, a school will get about 30 books. Think about that, 30 new books for 300 students. Okay. While the schools attempt to get books to support the Common Cause, they're not making any progress. They need more than 30 books for Common Cause, for the Common Core, I'm sorry. For some schools, this year's budget funds are about the only money they have received since the 5-year initiative ended in 2005. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Tony. Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Ms. Beck. Really appreciate the opportunity to speak now rather than wait around for a while. First off, I'd like to congratulate the administration. About 2 months ago, I guess now, I attended a budget workshop or whatever it's called, one of several that were held around the district. Unfortunately, the acting superintendent couldn't be at that one, but there was budget staff, the acting CFO. It was a marvelous opportunity both to get explanations of things that were going to go into the budget and also make suggestions. I made one suggestion, and that is when we got to this point in the process where we actually had something to look at, to do another round of these. I know you're terribly busy, but what a way to get support for the budget and maybe to get some ideas too, as opposed to just a public hearing where there's a bunch of stone faces up there. When you can work interactively, it's much better. I don't know if it's too late to schedule them, but I wish you would. It was a fantastic experience. Now to what I really want to talk about, and that's these reserve funds. There is something basically immoral, I think, about the reserve funds in a public setting. It makes sense in private industry where you have willing stockholders, you have willing lenders who hope to get a financial return on their investment or the interest to which they're entitled, and they're entrusting this to the board and to management to do. In a public setting, you're taking taxes from people. And what you're telling us as taxpayers is you want to take more than you think you need, and then maybe you'll spend it later down the line. I think there are a lot of good things to be said, I heard today, for increasing certain parts of the budget. If you need more money in student-based budgeting for the weights, for the pool, then budget for them. Don't put them into a reserve. I have more of a problem with the negotiated compensation because it so totally distorts the bargaining process. It sets a ceiling where the board can say, well, this is all we've got, so this is all you're going to get. It sets a floor where the employees can say, well, you've got this, give it to us. And it would make more sense to adjust the timing of negotiation, budgeting, and then implementation of higher, or I assume higher, wages for our employees, rather than budgeting for an increase first, then negotiating, and then putting it into play. If there are funds left over at the end of a fiscal year, they should appear as if they are revenues. These are carryover funds. You have county, state, federal, board, and then there ought to be the carryover funds, which can then be budgeted. Otherwise, what you lose, if you have these reserves, and I've seen it where in good times we build up millions and millions and millions of dollars of reserves and then use them for new initiatives or for other places we wanted them without having public hearings, without getting input from the public as to whether these are the right places for priorities. I don't think it's right. I think we need to have more of a conversation on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the time is 6:15, and we will come back at 7 p.m. in case someone wants to share with the board their issues around the budget. Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the January 29, 2013 fiscal year 2014 proposed operating budget public hearing of the Prince George's County Board of Education. Please turn off your wireless communications as they tend to interfere with the taping of the meeting. The sole purpose of the public hearing is to hear public commentary of your ideas relative to the 2014 budget. We appreciate the opportunity to get your feedback. The superintendent's proposal to the Board of Education is designed to further the vision of our school district around key priorities: funding student needs, supporting employees, continued investment in innovative programs, and continued fiscal stability. Again, the purpose of the budget work session is to ensure the budget process remains student-focused, equitable, transparent, and flexible. Please go to our website for more information around the budget schedule. We have registered speakers this evening, colleagues, who will speak for 3 minutes. Our first speaker is Genevieve Clements, Library Media. Please come forward, Ms. Clements.
I am Genevieve Clemens, a county resident and the library media specialist at Tulip Grove Elementary School and Heather Hills Elementary School. I want to thank you for locking in the .5 library media position at all schools. However, I can't tell you how heartbreaking it is to me to not have the time in either of my 2 schools to offer the teachers the support they need, to know that there are books in my library that could desperately be used in the classroom, but not have the time to talk to the teachers to find out what is going on in the classroom, and to not have the time to actually deliver the books to the teachers. Also, at .5, I cannot give the reader's advisory and the one-on-one attention the students so desperately want and need, the time to talk to them about the books and their information needs. It would be wonderful if that position could be a 1.0 locked position, but we are grateful that so many of the principals have chosen to add the other .5 position. I also want to thank you for putting the designated line item for media materials in the budget last year. But if it is at all possible, I would ask you to please raise the per pupil amount. This year it was $2 per student. In my 2 schools, both of which have about 400 students, that came to $800, which was enough to buy about 40 books. While we as school librarians are trying to get materials to support the Common Core, to build our nonfiction collections, 40 books a year for 400 students does not go very far. Over the last years, I have worked in 4 different elementary schools, with 3 schools last year and 2 this year. I have also visited many schools in my role as a member of the Library Media Support Team. I can tell you that the collections in many schools are in very poor condition. At Heather Hills Elementary School, a tag enrichment center, the average copyright date of the book is 1995. That's 18 years old. The books are torn, tattered, and yellowed. I have a book on physics where when I open it up, the pictures of the scientists, every one is white and male. I have books where Pluto is still a planet. I have books where Martin Luther King is still alive. I have books in that collection where Russia doesn't exist, but the Soviet Union does. And if I remove all of those books, which I desperately need to do, I have nothing to replace them with. We desperately need this funding for materials in the library media centers to try to convince our students that books are relevant, interesting, and worth reading. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Ms. Clemens. Colleagues, we did hear earlier from Ms. Tony Andovalto, also with regard to media specialists, and from David L. Kahn. The next Board of Education FY 2014 operating budget public hearing will be held here at the Sasser Building on February 13, 2013. The final public hearing is scheduled for February the 19th, 2013, which will also be held here at the Sasser Administration Building. The Board of Education is scheduled to adopt the budget on February 21st, 2013 at our board meeting, which begins at 7:05. The recommended budget will then be forwarded to the county executive, Mr. Rashawn Baker, who will develop his proposed county budget and present it to the county council in March. The county council must adopt a budget which includes the school system's fully funded budget designated by category, and then it goes to the state legislature in April 2013. The Board of Education will then reconcile with the county, approve the budget, and adopt a regularly scheduled at a regularly scheduled meeting, adopt the reconciliation by June 2013. At this time, this concludes our public hearing. We have no other speakers who have signed up. Does anyone walk in that wanted to speak? Okay. We have no other registered speakers who have signed up for the public hearing. And again, the purpose of public hearing is to hear comment from our public. Thank you. We are adjourned.